Hey yo, what's going on everybody? Welcome back to the channel, and this is my first time doing something pre-recorded through StreamYard, so um yeah, this is going to be the 31 on 31 slasher rankings. So yeah, so we're going to rank these pre-recorded here. So if you guys want to leave your list of all of these movies that I am ranking here today down in the comments, go ahead and do so, because I'd love to hear your opinions. So, and this is to commemorate for my buddy Movies and Trains Studios, 31 on 31 that we were doing for this Halloween season. So, without further ado, anyways, you guys, let's begin. Starting with number 31, in dead last, for me, is Friday the 13th, Part 5, A New Beginning. Easily my least favorite Friday the 13th movie. I really do not like this movie at all. There are a couple good things about it. I would say there are some good kills. And I thought that the opening scene was exactly what I wanted to see out of the movie. But as soon as we get to the new Jason, that's basically... Twist is basically, it's a guy pretending to be Jason. No thanks. And also the fact that when it's revealed like who is Jason in this movie, it just annoys the living shit out of me. I'm being honest, like it just annoys the living shit out of me. And I thought the characters were incredibly annoying. It's not very well directed, and like I said, there are some good kills, but most of the kills are pretty much garbage, especially for this franchise, which I think is a travesty, to say the least. So, so yeah, coming in at number 31, it's Friday the 13th, Part 5, A New Beginning. I know I might piss some people off there, but hey, as I have to say numerous times, this is just my list. So, if you guys want to put up your list, like I said, at any given moment, like, you know, in the comment section or anything like that, go right ahead, because I'm giving you permission to. So that's my number 31. So coming in at number 30 is House of Wax. This is the remake of House of Wax, starring Paris Hilton and Alicia Cuthbert. This film's honestly very forgettable to me. Like, there's quite a few things about it that I do like. Like, I like some of the performances, and I did like some of the kills. I like some of the gore, and I actually thought there were some good things going for it. It had some neat ideas despite being a remake. But for the most part, this film's just bland and forgettable, so I really don't have much to say about it. So, yeah, so I guess we'll just move on from there. So, yeah, that's my number 30 is House of Wax. But coming in at number 29, this one's probably going to set the comments on fire. Fear Street Part 1, 1994. Yep. This is actually my least favorite in the Fear Street trilogy. Now, this is a lot of people will consider this one to be their favorite. Not me, if I'm being honest with you guys. I really did not care for this film. I mean, it has some good things going for it. I love the idea. I like the killer, and I also do think that there is some pretty inventive kills. But for the most part, I found it to be a pretty generic first entry into this trilogy. It's a pretty generic slasher, all things considered, if I really do think about it. But I don't know. Like, this one's also pretty forgettable, and I also do not like the characters in this movie at all. I think the characters are terrible in this movie. So, yeah, I know that might set the comments on fire, but Lost connection there for a second. But anyways, time to move on to the next pick, which is number 28, Chopping Mall. And this one was one of my picks for 31 on 31 because I was kind of looking for something for since because of some of the films that we added on the list weren't really leaning into the fun factor in a lot of ways. I decided to add one that's kind of morally silly and kind of knows what it is, kind of 80s slasher film. The robots I thought were hilarious. The kills were pretty funny. But again, this is a movie that knows exactly what it is. It sustains what it is, and it's really fun for what it is. Flaws here and there, yes, with the characters, and also, maybe too silly for some. But I have a lot of fun with Chopping Mall. So if this is your kind of film, if you think like you would enjoy, if you love some kind of like so bad it's good kind of movies, or you guys just like silly 80s slashers, this one might be for you. So, I mean, it certainly was for me. So, whoop, I did it again. So there you go. So, yep, at number 28, we got Chopping Mall. But coming in at number 27, I know this may be higher on some other people's rankings, so but this is where I have it placed on mine. The Slumber Party Massacre. I actually just watched this film for the first time late last year, and I dug this movie. I mean, yeah, it's stupid, it's silly, but like I said, it's the same thing that I said with Shopping Mall. It's a film that sustains exactly what it is. It knows what it is, and it's fun for what it is. So it's not one of those films where it's going to be like, oh, hey, like, this is just a slasher film, like, and they don't even offer anything else, or in some ways, where it's like a dead serious slasher film that doesn't even know what it is or what it wants to do, and doesn't even sustain itself to a certain point where it's like not even fun to watch. But the Slumber Party Massacre, along with the sequel, the Slumber Party Massacre 2, does sustain exactly what it is. And I like it. I like it for what it is. Not perfect by any stretch of the imagination. There were definitely some things that definitely could have been handled better with the film, which I'm not going to get into why. But yeah, this is a fun movie enough for what it is. So if you guys haven't seen it, or if you guys haven't seen it in a while, I recommend this one. So next up, coming in at number 26, we got Fear Street Part 3, 1666. So, what can I say about this one? Well, I actually do. This one's definitely a big improvement over 1994. Like, I know this is the third chapter, and I thought that for what they were going for to conclude this trilogy, I thought they did really, really well. I think the characters are a lot better handled in this film. I love the time period setting that they decided to use for this film. I thought it was done really creatively in a lot of ways. So, and the soundtrack, like I forgot to mention that with the first film, the soundtrack is great. I mean, there's like at one point in the film where they play the Offspring's "Come Out and Play," and then I was just jamming. I was just jamming right to it, bro. So good. So, Fear Street Part 3, not the best, but it's not the worst. And I do think it's kind of slow in certain points, mostly within the film's first act. But once we start to really get going with the horror aspects of the film, that's kind of where I feel like the film really does tend to pick up. So yeah, this film is a lot of fun. Better than the first, but not better than one we'll get to in just a minute. But yeah, this one's at number 26, Fear Street, Part 3. Coming in at number 25 is The Collection, the sequel to The Collector, which obviously I haven't gotten to on my list yet, but it'll definitely be higher up on the list. So The Collection, I watched this film for the first time last year. I did enjoy it enough for what it is. I mean, yeah, it's kind of silly at points because it's a more action-y approach to what the first film was, more like the horror approach in some ways to this kind of concept. And I love the character, and I love this character of the Collector in some ways. So the action-y approach was really cool with this movie. The kills are really brutal, and I mean, but just also like a lot of the characters were just really rubbing me the wrong way. But again, the Collector himself is fantastic, and he is sadistic. So yeah, The Collection coming in at number 25. Really dig this film. If you guys haven't seen it, check it out. I highly recommend it. Coming in at number 24 is going to be The Burning. I actually just watched this film for the first time a few weeks ago with my buddy AJ. AJ Reacts 2. Go check him out. He's also part of the 31 on 31 ranking with me, Movies and Trains. And I like this movie. It took a while to get where it was going, and some of the characters I thought were really mishandled. But I thought the killer was really cool. Some really brutal kills with some great Tom Savini makeup and practical effects. Yeah, the river raft scene is one of the best kill scenes in 80s horror. Like, I will stand true to that. But yeah, this movie as a whole is a lot of fun. Not perfect, but a lot of fun. So if you guys haven't seen The Burning, check it out. I recommend it. So coming in at number 23 is Bride of Chucky, the fourth film in the Child's Play franchise. Now look, like I said, this isn't a perfect film either, but when it comes to the Child's Play franchise, this is definitely one of the better entries. But once the human girl is killed off in this film, that's when I feel like this film really does start to pick up. And then when Chucky and the new bride doll are kind of bonding, and, basically kind of going on a killing spree, that's kind of when I felt like this film really did start to pick up, because the first half of this film, I think the first act, the first 30 minutes of this film are tough to get through. They are really, really tough to get through. But for the most part, I think it's really well done. The kills are awesome, especially the highway scene. Where the guy just walks back in front of the truck, and then it gets run over. That works too. Yeah, so much fun. I really do enjoy Bride of Chucky. Again, not the best Child's Play film, but it's very, very much so enjoyable. So if you guys haven't seen it, check it out. I think it's worth your time. And then coming in at number 22 is Fear Street Part 2, 1978. This is easily my favorite film in the Fear Street trilogy. I thought the characters were much better handled. I thought the music was great. The kills were great. The killer himself that was used in the film was great. I loved Sadie Sink in this film. So this is definitely a huge improvement over the original film. It's not, again, not perfect by any means. There is flaws here or there. I mean, some of the characters were not the best, and I do think that the way this film wrapped up, I kind of thought was a little iffy. But again, that's not complaining too much here, because I still really do like this movie. And like I said, it is my favorite in the trilogy. Again, sometimes I kind of just wish they leaned a little bit more into it about what these films are supposed to be. But I do enjoy them. And coming in at number 21, if I can get it, it was going to be Jeepers Creepers. Now look, despite the director's story, or basically how controversial Victor Salva is, I think this film was a lot of fun. I love Justin Long in this film, and the chemistry that he has with his sister, I think is fantastic. The Creeper himself looks terrifying, and I thought the kills were really, really well done. It's a creepy film, but again, it's another film that may seem really stupid to some, but it's a film that really does sustain what it is. But also, my biggest gripe with this film is the film's, I would say, morely towards the end of the second half of the film, because a lot of people's complaint is the second half as a whole. But when I feel like the film starts to wrap up, I think the film kind of loses steam a little bit. And yeah, but as a whole, overall, this is easily the best Jeepers Creepers film in a very, very lackluster franchise. Even though I do like Jeepers Creepers 2, Jeepers Creepers 3 is just a travesty. But Jeepers Creepers Reborn is the worst film I've ever seen in my entire life. So there you go. But this first Jeepers Creepers, I dig. I understand that a lot of people may not like this franchise because of the director, but I can separate art from the artist and enjoy enjoy the film enough for exactly what it is. So Jeepers Creepers coming in at number 21. All right, this might be where it starts to get heated, but here we go. Number 20 is Us. Jordan Peele's Us. This film, this is a really polarizing film for a lot of people. There's a lot of things about this film that people do respect, like myself. There's a lot of things that I love about this film. The performances, the ideas that they decided to give, the creepiness to it. It's better paced than Get Out, in my opinion, even though Get Out is still phenomenal. But I do think this film is honestly a little bit better paced. And I kind of feel like it's a more straightforward horror film. It's a little bit more of a horror film than just a horror comedy. That's kind of what I'm meaning as a straightforward horror film, but a lot of people do complain about the film's logic. Like, a lot of people will say the film really kind of does fall apart with its logic. That's my biggest gripe with this movie, is the film's logic. And this is the most heated argument that a lot of people will go over, is the logic of this movie. Now, look, I'm not going to try to argue with people on it because like I said, my biggest gripe with this movie is the logic. But that doesn't mean I don't enjoy this film at all. I really like Us. This is a really fun movie, and this is another film that showed us that Jordan Peele was here to stay, and he proved that with Get Out, he proved it with Us, and he proved it with Nope. So yeah, he's a fantastic filmmaker. So Jordan Peele, keep doing what you're doing, my man. You're awesome. Oh, here we go. Here's what you guys have been waiting for. So if I can find it. Oh. Yeah, I'm probably going to have to edit that part out. Hold on. Okay, yeah, I'm definitely gonna edit that part out. So, but next up is at number 19. Wait, is it number 19? Yes, it's number 19. So number 19 is The Collector. So this film came out after Saw 6, because it said in the promotional marketing for this film, from the writers of Saw 4, 5, and 6. And this film, a lot of people will definitely compare to Saw, which I definitely see the comparisons. But in some ways, this film takes a lot of the liberties of Saw and kind of culminates it into its own, which I think was a really unique choice. And it introduced us to a great horror icon known as the Collector. And the kills are brutal. This film is sadistically brutal. Like, I can't lie to you. This movie is brutal. And it has such a fantastic opening scene that just left me speechless. So, yeah, The Collector. You guys got to check out The Collector. So coming in at number 18 is the original Child's Play. Now, a lot of people do say that Child's Play 2 is the best Child's Play movie, which I can understand why, because Child's Play 2 is awesome. But guys, this film was honestly, even though this film is a lot more hilarious now than it is scary, but this film was really, really impactful for this kind of generation. And it's what started the franchise. What started like this is what started a monumental franchise. And I love the killer of Chucky, Charles Lee Ray, played by Brad Dourif. I thought the kills were great, really creative, especially for 80s slashers. And I thought it had a great ending as well. I loved the ending to this movie. So, yeah, Child's Play is at number 18. So, yeah, if you guys have not seen Child's Play, what are you doing? What are you doing? Alrighty, so coming in at number 17 is Don't Breathe. This film is so freaking creepy. I mean, again, there's problems I have with the film. Like, there was just some certain things that were just left on the cutting room floor, and it does feel a bit too similar in vein to Panic Room. But I thought Jane Levy was great. I loved Stephen Lang as the blind man. Dylan Minnette is fantastic. The film is brutal. It's gory. And it has such a crazy ending that you will never forget. So, Don't Breathe. This film is so good, you guys. If you guys haven't seen Don't Breathe, just watch it. And the sequel's not bad either, but if you more look at it as a revenge flick rather than a sequel to Don't Breathe, then I think you'll enjoy the sequel. But this film will easily stand the test of time. Like, this film is way better than the sequel, without a question. Coming in at number 16, this one's gonna shock some of you, and definitely gonna set the comments on fire. My Bloody Valentine 3D, baby. That's right. I absolutely love this movie. I rewatched it not too long ago, especially for this ranking, to see if my score would go up on this rewatch or if it would remain the same. But after rewatching it, this movie sustains exactly what it is. It's a remake of the 1981 film of the same name. And this is one of those few times where I will prefer the remake, because I think the remake's a little bit more fun. It's a lot gorier. And it's really underrated in my mind. So, yeah. I know some people are really going to come at me for that, but I really dug this movie. I don't care what you say. It's a lot of fun. It's the same as what it is. So, 1 second. Okay, we're back. So yeah, at 16 is the remake of My Bloody Valentine. Yeah, guys, check it out. Just turn your brain off, have a little fun. But coming in at number 15, we have James Wan's Malignant. Whoa, what a batshit crazy movie this is. James Wan. James Wan has had he has a great selection of films. Saw, Insidious, Furious 7, and yeah, he has a great selection of films. And also with Death Sentence, Dead Silence, I absolutely love James Wan. But I was kind of starting to lose a little bit of hope after Aquaman, even though I do like Aquaman. But I was kind of feeling like he was starting to lean more into the silly action movie genre when he was clearly best known for horror. But with this film, he proved that he was back to horror with this batshit crazy movie with one of the craziest third acts I think you'll ever see. And such a unique idea that definitely will polarize some, but this is a film that will stick with you if you watch it more often. So, Malignant, definitely, again, like I said, polarizing for some, but it'll definitely stick with you when you rewatch it. So, yeah. At number 15, we got Malignant. So, at number 14, we have, if I can, again, geez. Oh, hold on. I got it. There we go. So coming in at number 14, Friday the 13th, Part 6, Jason Lives. My personal favorite Friday the 13th movie. It's goofy, it's silly, it's gory. It may not make a whole lot of sense, but this was the first Friday the 13th film that finally sustained what this franchise needed to be. So, and I think with what they were going for, especially with Jason coming back from the dead as a zombie, I thought was a really unique touch. So, yeah, as a great opening scene. Some side characters may not work the best, but I thought the gore is great. Jason is a badass, and yeah, this film is so much fun. Again, it was the first one to sustain what the franchise was, and I was all there, and I was there all for it. So, yep. So at 14, we got Jason Lives. Ooh. This one might get me killed right here for number 13. My number 13 is the original Candyman. Look, this is a great film. Without question. I love this original film. But this is another hot take, is that I prefer the remake, or the sequel. Like the newest Candyman that came out in 2021 with Yahya Abdul-Mateen. And I don't know, man. I do love this movie, but at the same time, it's like, with the way that the film is executed in some ways with this type of concept, I kind of felt like I've seen this story before, but done better. But again, great performances, a great character in Candyman played by Tony Todd, some great gore, and I really think there was a good story here to tell. So I think this film is well done. It's great, but just not quite on the level as some people would say. But again, great movie though. Do not get me wrong. I think this film is great. Just not quite on the level as some people would say. But coming in at number 12, we got X. One of last year's best horror films. I thought this one was awesome. The kills are so brutal, especially towards the film's third act. It's definitely kind of a porno slasher. especially with the film's first half. But when we get to the second half and the basically what the hosts of the basically what the hosts are doing to these filmmakers is brutal. Like the kills are brutal. I love the characters, especially Maxine herself, played by Mia Goth. I love Jenna Ortega in the film, and Kid Cudi or Scott Mescudi, but it's Kid Cudi, are all fantastic in the film. Ty West did a great job directing this film, and I love how he plays around with the aspect ratio of this movie. I think it's really well done, and the time period that the film is set in is really, really well handled for this film. So yeah, number 12, X. X is fantastic. But speaking of which, to kind of keep going with this franchise, coming in at number 11 is Pearl, the prequel to X. So basically, this is the origin story of the old lady, also played by Mia Goth, in X. So Pearl is more of a golden age of cinema type movie, with also the slasher elements thrown into the mix. Mia Goth is fantastic in this film. That I really think that she was snubbed for Best Actress. She really could have gotten a good Oscar nomination for this performance. Honestly, Jesus. Terrifying at times too, man. She is terrifying at times, despite the fact that she's so fantastic in this film. Like, she really relishes this kind of role. The kills in the film are also pretty brutal, and her monologue that she gives during the film's third act, I thought was, oh man, felt so real to me. So yeah, Pearl, this movie is awesome, you guys. Again, if you guys haven't seen it, please watch it. I beg of you. And like I said, also watch X, because I really do think you guys are going to enjoy it. So watch them both. Now we're entering into the big leagues right here. So we're at the top 10 now. So coming in at number 10 is the original classic Texas Chainsaw Massacre. The one that introduced us to Leatherface. One of the most impactful slashers that we've gotten. I love the character of Leatherface. I thought the characters are really well done. And also the fact that this movie's so fucked up just amazes me. So, and the way that they decided to utilize a lot of things in this film that they did, especially back in 1974, is fantastic. So yeah, if you guys have never seen this original Texas Chainsaw Massacre, look, avoid the newest one, avoid the Next Generation, and avoid Texas Chainsaw 3D. Then if you basically take out those three films, you have a great franchise, honestly. But since we have those three, it's a good franchise, but I really don't think this film really even needed to be a franchise. If I'm being honest, this is one of those horror films where it's like, this did not need to be a franchise. It works better on its own. But I love this original Texas Chainsaw Massacre. If you guys have not seen it, like I said, go watch it. I think you guys will enjoy it. So, all right, coming in at number 9, we got A Nightmare on Elm Street 3: Dream Warriors. This is the best sequel of the franchise, without a question. This movie is awesome. Loved Freddy in this movie. The kills are awesome. The characters are great. And dude, some of the kills just leave me feeling really uneasy. Like they're really spine tingling. Especially the kill in basically the Puppet Master kill, where Freddy has the veins of Philip's arms and legs like a puppet, like that. Just makes my spine tingle, literally, because it's so creepy. And once he cuts those off and Philip falls to his death, is just even more terrifying to me. So yeah, Nightmare on Elm Street 3, this movie is awesome. Still, I would say there was like there's one kill I could have altered a little bit. Honestly, I would have done something a little bit more different with it. But other than that, this is an awesome movie. So watch Nightmare on Elm Street 3 if you guys haven't already. It is awesome. Oh, coming in at number 8, you guys. This one took a bit to grow on me. But after this recent rewatch that I did with my buddy Jared Runner on his channel, this movie deserves a high spot on the list. You're Next. The way that they play at the home invasion genre, like they kind of poke fun at it in a lot of ways, is awesome. The gore is fantastic. I loved our final girl. She was a badass. Dude, the gore. Ho, ho, ho. Dude, Adam Wingard knew exactly what he was doing. And this was obviously before he did The Guest, which is another film that I absolutely loved. Adam Wingard knew exactly what to do when it came to poking fun at not only the slasher genre, but the home invasion subgenre in a lot of ways. I really do think he struck a home run with this movie. The look of the killers, I also think, is really creepy. I mean, I know it's just animal masks, but the way that they were used, and I think also the way that they were crafted also, I think they were crafted on their own in some ways, is awesome. So, yeah, you guys, You're Next is so fucking good. So, yeah, if you guys haven't already, please check this movie out. I urge of you to watch it. But coming in at number 7, my boy, Art the Clown in Terrifier 2. I've seen this movie about 6 times now. I watched this was one of the first films I watched this year, and because my buddy Fritzky, shout out to him, we did a watch along for it on my channel, and after we watched it, dude, I was speechless at how good this movie was. Because at first, when I first saw the first film, I wasn't a big fan of it, but this film surpasses the first film in almost every way. The gore is extremely fantastic. But seriously though, the gore in this film is absolutely extreme to a certain degree where it's like it's not for the squeamish whatsoever. Like if you are really that squeamish to gore, do not watch this movie. Or even that. If you are watching this film and you're that squeamish, you're gonna need a barf bucket because man. It is pretty crazy there, me friends. But it's so good. So, yeah, if you guys have not seen Terrifier 2, check it out. I think it's on Amazon Prime right now. But even if you weren't big fans of the first film, I highly recommend checking out Terrifier 2. Just saying, you guys. But coming in at number 6 is the original classic, A Nightmare on Elm Street. This is one of my biggest introductions to horror. And also one of the first horror films I ever watched, and I have fallen in love with this film ever since. The idea of it, of basically a guy coming after you in your dreams, and if you die in your dream, you die in real life. I love the killer of Freddy Krueger. The kills are awesome and has some really unique ideas, and I love our final girl of Nancy Thompson, played by Heather Langenkamp. I think she's fantastic. I love Johnny Depp in the film. This was his first film. I love Robert Englund as Freddy Krueger. And, dude, just some of the things that they did in the film. Oh, man. Like, it's so creepy. But, yeah, if you guys are looking for a fantastic 80s slasher film that kind of also rejuvenated what made slashers so good, this one will do it for you. So check out A Nightmare on Elm Street. This film is so damn good. But coming in at number 5 is the original classic, Psycho, directed by the one and only Alfred Hitchcock. This is a really unnerving thriller. And obviously we all know the scene in the shower. that scene really does get under my skin. And yeah, it is really, really well done. I love the character of Norman Bates, and I love the way that the movie is filmed. And this is one of those films where it's like you cannot miss a single thing. Like you can't just walk away while the film is playing. You have to really pay attention to the things that are happening in front of you, because it's also like one of those things, like you blink it, you miss it. So that's kind of what this is. Honestly, one of those films. And plus the fact that Alfred Hitchcock never admitted anybody late to the film back when it came out back in 1960. So that says something. Like you really got to pay attention to this film, because otherwise you'll miss some pretty important details about it. But this is such a good film. So love Psycho, one of Hitchcock's best. Not my personal favorite, but I think it's fantastic. Coming in at number 4 is the one, the only, the classic Halloween. Yep, this original classic from John Carpenter. What is there to say about this film that hasn't been said already? This was the film that defined the slasher genre back in 1978. I love the direction from John Carpenter. I love the score that he did. And yeah, I love our character of Laurie Strode, played by Jamie Lee Curtis, arguably the role that made her famous. And I mean, objectively speaking, though, some of the acting really does not hold up at all. But this is one of those films that does not rely on gore, like when it comes to the kills. Like when it comes to the kills, it relies on the tension. It doesn't rely on gore. It relies on tension, which is something that I usually do. Like what actually kind of gets under my skin more when it comes to crafting a horror film is the tension. The tension with this film is really, really well done. But if you guys have not seen this classic, I don't know what the hell you're doing. But this would be a great introduction to horror. If you guys were not really big into horror films, this is a perfect introduction. So yeah, the number 4 is John Carpenter's Halloween. Coming in, hold up. Oh yeah, there we go. Coming in at number 3, the film that I think deserves a little more attention than Halloween. Like a lot of the credit that Halloween gets, Black Christmas, 1974, deserves. This film is fantastic. It's fucked up in so many ways. The characters are fantastic, and I love our killer. So yeah, I mean, I love Black Christmas. Like, is there really much else I can really talk about with Black Christmas that hasn't really been said when it comes to basically a lot of us horror film buffs? This film is a classic. And I think it's even so many years later, it still holds up. I love this movie so much, you guys. So please, if you guys haven't seen Black Christmas, it is so underappreciated to a point where it's like, you guys need to check it out and give it more appreciation. So that's my number 3. At number 2, one of my personal favorite films of all time. Do you like Huey Lewis in the News? That's right, everybody. It's American Psycho. My favorite performance from Christian Bale. And the movie is so hilarious, but it's like you don't even feel weird that you're laughing. Like, a lot of the laughs in the film actually make a lot of sense. Especially at the scene when he brutally murders Paul Allen, played by Jared Leto. In this movie, it is so freaking funny. And I love a lot of it's a very quotable film. It's hilarious. Oh my god, it even has a watermark. Yeah, American Psycho is a classic. Mary Harron did a great job directing this film. I love the cast. It even's got Willem Dafoe, Reese Witherspoon, Samantha Mathis. Yeah, fantastic cast all around. A great performance from Christian Bale as Patrick Bateman. And yeah, and the gore effects that they use. So good. So good. So yeah, at number 2 is American Psycho. But number 1, one of the greatest horror films ever created, Scream. Yes. Scream is another one of those films, like I said with Nightmare on Elm Street, that rejuvenated slashers. But this is also a horror comedy in a lot of ways, because this film is also really damn funny in so many different ways that I can't even just name one way where it's so funny. I love the characters. I love Sidney Prescott. I love Gale Weathers. I love Dewey. And I love Ghostface as a horror icon. And as everybody knows, the famous twist of basically it being Billy Loomis and Stu Macher is fantastic. Skeet Ulrich and Matthew Lillard, I think, were fantastic in the film. The gore is awesome. The kills are great, even if some of them don't really make sense. But like I said, this is a horror comedy in so many ways. The opening scene blew me away. And it made me realize exactly what kind of film I was in for. So Scream easily comes in at my number 1. This movie is amazing. So that's it, guys. That is in my entire 31 on 31 slasher ranking. So if you guys enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up. Subscribe if you haven't already. We're on the road to 600 subscribers. And got so many things coming up on the channel that you guys can look forward to. So anyways, guys, take care, everybody. Have a good night.